Hi, this is a chapbook of spoken word poetry titled Written in Blood. I tried for a while to get these poems published, but the thing about spoken word poetry is that it's meant to be performed, not written down. And also, I started writing these a while ago, and I'm better at it now. But I don't want to rewrite the poems because they tell a very specific story of my life and the kind of person I was at certain parts of it. And to rewrite them now as a different person would be disingenuous. So, I decided to stop trying to put them into paper format and record them and call this my publication. Content warnings include depression, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, dissociation, self-harm, suicidal ideation. I think that's all. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. I spend the bad times waiting for everything to be worth it again, and consequently, I can't forget during the good times that the depression will return. Is it any wonder, really? I am from liberal atheists and conservative Christians. I am spoiled by a tiny family and lost in a giant one. I am from science, black and white, logic, the intricate beauty of proteins and DNA. I am from art, color, emotion, the incredible power of a perfect sentence. I am from loneliness and invisibility. I am from an incredible friendship that means the world to me. I am from despair. I am from ecstasy. I am from lying by reflex to hide who I am, and I am from standing on the rooftop to shout it to the world. I am from both worlds, many worlds, repeating, returning, cyclical, unending, dying, and rising. I am Phoenix. Today, I look in the mirror. Damn, I'm pretty. Today, I am bored. I reach for a favorite book. Today, I think of music. This song tells my story. Today, I am inspired to reach for a notebook and write it all down. And all of it is tempered by walking the line and knowing that. Tomorrow, I look in the mirror, fat and ugly. Tomorrow, I am bored, I click on the internet. Tomorrow, I think of music, nothing speaks. Tomorrow, I don't even reach for a notebook. I know nothing will come. The middle line. I walk between mania and depression. I think I am pretty, and yet I know tomorrow I may change my mind. I am enjoying visiting family, and yet I want to cry at the way they hardly see me. I want to live, and yet I fantasize about suicide. I only can wish that someone had said, right at the beginning, addiction's too real, the cost is too great, not even to try it. Don't tease with your nails, don't hurt yourself, child, don't cut. One day, I read about it. Physical pain cures emotional pain. Another day, I tried it. Can't cry here, nails in palms and calm. Another day, I used it. Too much nails and skin drag. Another day, I slipped into it. Cleaning a razor, so much blood, such a rush. Ever since, I've wanted it. The pain, the euphoria, the high, the release. Hooked like heroin from one cut. Going to con. Joy. Going to con. Touch. Going to con. Opportunity. It was salvation, there just when I needed it, a place to be touched, hugs given freely, tired people lying in piles, a place to perform, all by myself, where no one would judge, a place to heal. Marcia brought me first, sent by God or serendipity. I said, they love you so. She said, they love you too, and I cried for joy and pain. I went to con for my 17th birthday. A time of joy, my birthday and con together, right? But just before I left, I got agonizing news, and so there I sat, at con, trying not to cry, and I dug my nails into my palms in order not to cry. And somehow we ended up sitting together, by God or serendipity, me and Ruth asked something, I don't remember what, and I said I have crescent moons in my palms, because I'm just that depressed. And she answered that she knew that same sensation, and she showed me the marks on her hand. And then at worship the next night, Aaron brought us together and said, "Step back and look at yourselves, people. You are fucking beautiful." And he isn't the kind of person who swears. And I sat there, and there was Ruth, and she asked me a question. I don't remember what. And I said, "Even me? Even a soul as broken and damaged as me?" And she answered that she knew that same sensation. And so she showed me the marks on her soul. I went to Cannes that summer, a time of joy, because summer Cannes is the Cannes of fun, right? But Beth turned me away. She didn't want to sit with me. But Anne and Jay both knew I wanted a performance slot, and they signed themselves up without me. And so there I stood, at Cannes, trying not to cry, and I raked my nails down my arms in order not to cry. But it was worse. Everything slowed down. People moved past me like a current against the salmon. And nobody saw me. It took every effort just to move, just to find Ruth, whom I knew would understand. It took every effort to move 10 steps closer, and she was talking with someone else, and I didn't have the strength to interrupt. When she was done, she made to leave. I said her name. Too quiet, much too quiet for anyone to hear. It took every effort to raise my voice and say it again, and she heard. "I need you," I said, and she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I need a hug," and I took it, but I didn't feel any better. And she said, "You're shaking," and she took me upstairs, into the room only admins could use, sat me on a soft couch, brought me a cup of water, held my hand and asked what I needed, asked how I got to that state, and listened. And she showed me the scars, and she begged me not to go further, to use more than my nails, not to take out the blade, and for her I quit that day. Away from Cannes, I called her when I needed her. She stood between me and my own hands. She stood between me and the blade. And every time I see her, I show her my unmarked white forearms, and I tell her I'm still clean. And she tells me, "I'm so proud of you," and for her I have been clean for a year. I changed my name to Phoenix, out of a resolution, no longer to be the loser, the quiet one in the corner, the one who knows how to make friends but doesn't. I didn't want to be that girl anymore. Well, I got invited to a party. I went to see Chris and Mimi and Kitty, who are all cool people, but none of them were there. And a couple people tried to talk to me, but that painful kind of shyness, where you want people to like you, so paradoxically you don't show them you, overtook me and I found myself alone on the couch. Oh, we played games first. I wasn't any good. But then they were dancing to music I didn't know. If I'd not known them at all, I could have danced without caring what anybody thought. If I'd known them well, I could have danced without caring what anybody thought. But I knew several by sight, and I wanted to know them all, and so I sat on the couch and prayed for a song I knew. And I thought to put on a song I knew, but I couldn't think of anything one could dance to, and I sat and I sat and I sat. I sat totally relaxed in that sofa, hands clasped above my head, soon to regret that particular position, because at some point I realized I couldn't move. Oh, nothing physical. I could still feel my limbs. Small shudders racked through them. My muscles still worked. No, it was my brain that couldn't find the neurons, couldn't find the commands to make them move. Or it was my mind that couldn't convince those nerves to fire, and my arms sat like dead weights on my head. 1 hour I passed in this state, waiting and crying for someone to notice, unable to ask for help, dreading that I would be stuck until cleanup and everyone would stare, as my arms slowly fell asleep up there. Eventually, gravity pulled my fingers apart. I was able to wiggle, just a little, to shake my hands off my head, and they fell like dead weights by my side. And finally, Lexi noticed, turned, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Are you all right?" And I almost nodded, but I shook my head instead. She asked what was wrong, and I said, "I can't move. I can't move." This was clearly new territory. She offered me water 3 times. She asked me what I needed, and I told her touch. She had to ask me again, and I said pull me up. And for a minute there, for all that, I thought for a minute it would go away because finally someone was paying attention. But she picked at my hands, and they were mere dead weights. And she had to get help to pull me to my feet because I couldn't contribute. And finally, I could move. It was an accident. Honest. It was sharper than I thought. Pain. No blood. No blood for long seconds. Then it came. The sea of red. So red, and it came, and it came, and it came, pouring forth like the mouth of a spring. Squeeze it for more. Daub it on the shower walls. Hurts more, don't care. It will all be gone with the water. I wish it would stay. This is crazy talk, says some rational part left. I don't care. Red sea on the walls. Euphoria rush, so strange. Why should this feel so good? Such a high, such a rush. Rushes like water, like the Red Sea. Goes so nice with Dead Sea. A larger cut, a different place. Red Sea becomes Dead Sea. Cutting as a Middle Eastern body of water should not tickle me so. But then comedy and tragedy are not so far removed, especially for me, who lives both sides always. Well, are you? They ask when they hear. Well, no. Not since that night have I laid blade to skin. Never on purpose have I drawn blood from my veins. Well, yes. As the alcoholic who does not drink, I am the addict who yet abstains, for not one day goes by that I do not imagine it, tearing open my arms and letting it flow. 1 year clean, and still my arms itch for the blade. There are the days when I wish I had proper depression and not manic, for always I remember that it will go away. Always there is the part of me that does not fall, and if I am not entirely consumed, is it real? These are the days when I want to cut just to prove I will. What is the difference between bipolar and depression? Bipolar is technically manic depression, defined by manias. And yet, do I have manias? I feel what they talk of, the sense of connection to the world at its core. The elation, the joy, the sense that I can do anything, the fantasies of greatness, the impossible plans. And yet, never has it pressed me to a shopping spree, to act out a mad plan. Never has it controlled me so that I fail to notice how mad the plan is. The depressive half is different too. I dwell both, as in bipolar, on the hurt that others have dealt me, but as in depression unipolar, on my personal failings, both types at once. So am I bipolar? Are my symptoms strong enough? Am I merely depressive? Am I seeing shapes and shadows? Am I actually normal? I think that scares me most of all. I wonder if I am overreacting. I've done it before. I say love when I mean enjoy, hate when I mean dislike. I want to say now that I live in an age of absolutes, but in truth that might just be me. So how do I know I am telling the truth to myself? How do I know my friends are secretly in love? How do I know the way Marcia treats me isn't normal? How do I know I'm talented or pretty? Worse, how do I know I have depression? I'd be a cutter if Ruth hadn't stopped me. I really want to drag a knife down my arms. I'm withdrawn, oversleeping, uncaring, unfeeling. What if I make it all up to make my life more exciting? I have come up with a concept, derivatives with eyes. It is amusing me to death. I'm sitting at dinner, laughing till I cry, laughing for a full half an hour, not derivatives with eyes. And my dinner friends are looking at me as though I've grown new limbs, derivatives in disguise. They tell me I need sleep, derivatives, oh my. They assume I'm just at that stage where everything is funny. Ha. I go to my class after dinner, and I find I cannot convince myself to move. I sit in my chair and stare at the desk, and no one notices. I'm sure I should be released if they noticed. I break free enough to need to destroy something. I carve lines in a pencil instead of my skin, using only my nails, and I think I wasn't tired. That wasn't exhaustion. That was mania. And with mania comes depression. What the hell is so funny about derivatives anyway? I have the power to be happy, but in depression I cease to know how or why. I can hardly move or talk. My pen stutters on the page. I cannot save myself. It makes me so indifferent I don't care. It takes another's help, and the disease keeps me from asking. A virus that cuts off the avenues for the cure. So your only hope is a burst of strength, or for someone to notice of their own volition. They rarely do. Clever sickness. When it's bad, I remember all the hurt you ever dealt me. When it's bad, I remember all the times you left me. All the friends who moved away, not their fault, but still it hurt me. The popular girls who liked to bully, still can't forget the hurt they dealt me. Anne, Marcia, and Marina would rather play with each other. My friends like brothers, Dan and Nathan, only have eyes for each other. When it's bad, I start to wonder why I just don't seem to matter, and I forgive but can't forget you making me think I don't matter. I wonder if writing is mania, the flow of words, the idea that it is perfect as it is, the overarching goodness of the act itself, the compulsion to keep going, although it is almost 1 a.m. The dream of being famous someday, the feeling that it is the best thing in the world. Although my back and wrists and bottom hurt, and I want to sleep and I have to get up in the morning. Everything I read says, for an unstable friend, direct her to medical. Everything I read says, those people who take and don't know how to give, they need medicine. Everything I read says, do not let them use you, don't let them abuse you. You are not equipped to handle this alone. Well, that's all very well and good for you. Is that all I'm good for? Don't I deserve a friend? Is that what they're all thinking? How soon can I get out? This is not my problem. And if I take and haven't learned to give, don't I deserve a chance to learn to live? Is my only future medicated life? Am I not worth your time? You have labeled me abuser. My intention's not to hurt. It's not about the power. I just need a friend. You are my enabler, helping to convince me that no one wants to catch me, that I'll just be shunted off to psych, that if I am honest about my mental state, I am too much of a burden. I'm glad you try to save us from emotional abuse, but one kind word to the abusers would be nice. But I am afraid that to take the medication is to stop the fountain that is the reason I live. Most people draw butterflies on their wrist where the cuts go. Except it isn't my wrists that itch. Possible scars coat my upper arms. Possible scars coat my upper arms. Butterflies aren't big enough, so I draw gardens. I draw flowers with big petals and vines and leaves between them, snaking up and down my left arm. And I think that when I'm older, if I've slipped and added scars, I shall tattoo a garden on my left arm. The vines shall wind down in a spiral, sprouting leaves and flowers gay. The ink it shall be white to match the scars. And where the vine encounters cuts, it shall bend so that the scar becomes a vine and therefore art. College is a new world, a new life, a new start. My dorm room feels like home. My classes feel familiar, despite how hard they are. I changed my name, and my old one sounds strange, and I believe it is because I have so embraced this world. Things have to be better here. And, well, my roommate likes all the same things I do. Chris eats with me at breakfast. Mimi has fascinating ideas. Sarah is hilarious and completely adorable. Celine is a sweetheart and weirder than me. And there's theater people and sci-fi people and mad people and brilliant people. Things might be better already. I'm done. I am so done. Living this recurring dance between earth and hell and purgatory. I'm done doing it all alone, because as good as Ruth is, as good as Mimi and Lexi are, I cannot hand them my soul and expect them to bear it. I cannot tell my friends to stand by my side, guilt them into spending their energy on me, tell them I need them now, and if they don't come, I will fall. Nobody deserves that, whether they offered or not. and tonight was as bad as it has ever been, and I have been doing this for a while now, alone. So I went to counseling, or maybe they can handle me, or they can focus on just me for a while, and I won't feel guilty. And she listened, and she read my work, and she referred me to a psychiatrist. And part of me feels that this cannot be real. I cannot have taken this step after so long, and part of me feels scared. This could be my turning point, and there is something comforting in the most awful familiarity. And part of me is not daring to hope that things will get better, and I do not remember, until I leave, the person I promised this to. The person I promised I would get help if things got bad. And Lily dear, I hope you're proud of me, because that alone can keep me on this path of being done with putting up with everything I can throw at myself. The counselor told me I'm not bipolar. She told me I am very lonely. I have been lonely for a long time, because I am different from the people around me. And I think for 18 years, who have I had? My parents, Lily and Liza and Ruth and Con, and none of them for more than once every 3 months. Most of them less than that. Matthew, for one measly semester. Marcia and Anne and Marina, who always had bigger priorities. Ashley, who I loved and so I ran from. And they always leave. Mimi told me I'm not a bad person. She told me I am very lonely. I have been lonely for a long time, because so many of my friendships have been unequal. And I think, is this really the reason I hurt so much? I don't interact with people like normal. Is it really okay that I am this way? And I am so afraid to hope that Mimi will be different. But where most people say, I have to do something, did I catch you later? Mimi says, I have to do something, come on, you're coming with me. And drags me away by the arm, like she actually wants to spend time with me. And she tells me that everyone is blind not to see me, and I am terrified because Matthew said all the same things, and where is he? But if my luck turns, and people start to stick around, will I finally be okay? They're playing YouTube vids while I try to concentrate. Can't really blame them. I had tons of time earlier, and blew it all on reading. So I go out to dinner instead. And they're all looking past me, don't seem to see me, even those who know me. Well, that's familiar. So I'm wandering, and Mimi's place is right there. And I consider wandering in. I consider shouting at her window. I consider that she might not even be there. And I start to walk away. But there's Ronnie, Shirley, and more, and I ask them where might Mimi be, and they suggest I text her. Well, that actually didn't occur to me. And they're walking way fast, and not really talking to me, so I let them pass, and I text her, and she's there, and we talk for hours and hours, and the more we do I realize Mimi thinks like me, talks like me, feels like me, lives like me, writes like me. And though I've started to draw a garden down my arm, for they itch and what's stopping me? She talks me down and strokes my hair, and I dare to believe someone might not leave. With everything else, I wonder if I'm giving myself the symptoms out of a sheer desire for a label. With borderline, that's actually a symptom. Things are not better. I don't go a day without wanting to cut. I don't go a day without wanting to die. They put me on Prozac. What's wrong? Prozac gives me back good days, but then my walls are down when the bad days come to knock and I am close to helpless. What's wrong? I take a pair of scissors to my arm, throw away 2 years, 8 months, 2 days clean, and Mimi cries. But Mimi is still here. What's wrong? I have Mimi. We've been dating for a year. With her came Will. I have people like never before. People who stay and tell me they're not going as often as I need to hear it. What's wrong? I don't understand the workings of my brain. I don't have a framework for any perspective. What's normal? What's not? How can I heal if I don't know what's wrong? I find the diagnosis myself. It starts with a boy in a book. His diagnosis, just a throwaway line, meant everything to me. but he acts like me. I look it up on the internet. Every symptom appears. I joined the Tumblr community. Their words resonate. Little things I thought mere quirks are really little borderline things. Every single thing wrong with me can be summarized by this disease. Frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, borderline. Recurrent suicidal behavior, borderline. Marked reactivity of mood, borderline. Unstable and intense interpersonal relationships, markedly unstable self-image, chronic feelings of emptiness, borderline. Borderline personality disorder. Frantic efforts to avoid abandonment. They tell me I matter. I know they love me. But by the next day, I'm sure they couldn't give a damn. What have they done? Nothing. Nothing but not texted me first, not answered right away, spent time with someone else, prioritized family, prioritized exams, and I know that's how normal people work. I know, this doesn't make sense, and still, don't you see, I can't shut off the voice, be normal, make it stop. Lily's voice lilts. English vowels here, American consonants there. And every time I talk to her, abruptly and without control, I speak her accent. Pasta like pasta, car without any R. And all the adults thought I was making fun. But how do you not mimic? How do you keep your accent? I grew and I learned, but still it is a struggle, fighting every second to keep my own tongue. At work with my black boss, every sentence wants to be, "We ain't got veggie base, there be chicken though." No, stop, conjugate that B, that's not even how habitual B works. And other little things too. My laugh depends on my current set of friends, my hairstyle, my clothes. Give me an illness and I'll start to display it. Didn't have anxiety till I met Mimi. Had more identity than this before I read the symptoms. And bigger things. I am a badass. I am sweetness. I am a scientist. I am an artist. I want to save people. I want to watch them drown. I am amazing. I am the worst. I can change the world. I should get on with dying. I am a girl. I am a boy. I am a something else. I'm a fucking hurricane is what. I am not sick enough. That is what my therapist tells me. Because I'm a self-harm addict instead of a user. Suicidal instead of survivor of suicide. Constantly struggling with what's real instead of completely unable to deal with it. I look like someone with BPD who's been in treatment for ages. I taught myself the tricks I'm supposed to need therapy for. Well, that's bullshit. I find out later that the new DSM, the Bible, the holy grail of mental illness, who am I to say that they're wrong, makes me undiagnosable. Disinhibition characterized by impulsivity and risk-taking. Well, no, except in mania. It's not mania, not full bipolar mania. It only lasts for hours, and that makes it marked reactivity of mood. Does that count? Antagonism characterized by hostility. Well, no. Well, I get mad. Sometimes I want to kill people when they're really mean, but I don't act on it. I don't even tell them off. My therapist and I compromise. She won't diagnose me. It won't help me in the long run. It'll only hurt my career and my future. But she'll write me a letter. I have enough symptoms. I find a framework in the label. I am allowed to call myself living with borderline personality disorder. And that is what I need to know to beat it. I started writing these poems when I was 16 or 17. I didn't believe that I would live to 18. Then I did, and I didn't believe I would live to college. And then I did, and I didn't believe I would live through college. And now I'm 23. And I feel like I'm living on gifted time, because never would I have believed you if at 17 you'd told me I would live to 23. So I want you to know, if you're empathizing with these poems, that it doesn't have to be like that forever. that I've been there. I've been to the bottom. And it does actually get better. And sometimes it takes a little something else. I take 200 milligrams of Wellbutrin and 10 milligrams of Prozac every day. And when I don't take them, I can feel the withdrawal. But I don't feel the itch every day anymore. I barely feel the itch anymore. Today makes 2 years, 6 months, and 8 days clean, which is just a little under 2 months shy of my longest record ever. On September 12th, 2018, I'm gonna get the tattoo of the garden down my arm. Except it's not a garden anymore because it's been a few years and I changed what I want. It's going to be the Vulcan calligraphy for lesbian because I like the way that looks. And it's going to go up and down the entire length of my left arm over all of the spots I've ever wanted to cut. Because 3 years was my goal, and I am actually going to get there. 3 years clean. Sometimes it doesn't get better on its own. Sometimes it takes therapy or meds, getting out of where you are, or just enough time for your brain chemicals to calm down and figure out what they're doing. And it sucks while they're doing it. It really sucks. But it does actually get better. I just want you to know that. You can live through it too. And I'm never gonna tell you, you have so much to live for, because I know it doesn't feel like it. And I'm never gonna tell you, you can't do that. Think of what it would do to people, because I've been there, and it doesn't help, because, God, the only reason I don't kill myself, or didn't, because it isn't true anymore. The only reason I didn't kill myself was for other people, and at some point you get tired of living for other people. So, I've never been the kind of person who values throwing everything a person values away just to save their life at any cost. Like on 911, when they kicked the guy on the ledge back through the window into the house, so he can't jump. And in that case, that guy didn't really want to die. He just figured out his wife was cheating on him. It's a long story. But I've always hated that lack of autonomy. As soon as they find out you're suicidal, they take away your autonomy. And I sort of see where they're coming from. But I also hate it. So I'm not going to tell you any of that. I'm just going to tell you that you can get through it. That I did it and I'm here and I will talk to you if you want. And maybe you have nothing now, or maybe it just doesn't seem like it. But things change. Even if you're friendless now, there will be people who like you. Even if everything sucks now, there will be a time when it's better. And maybe that's enough for you to wait for that. I hope you do. I hope you don't have to live with this kind of pain for too much longer. I hope you heal, and soon. I feel you. Anyway, this got completely away from me, but thanks for watching.